Matt Miguez has plenty on his mind, and he's ready to share it with the world. It's time to hear the Miguez Mindset.
Welcome into the Miguez Mindset here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Matt Miguez here inside the EVCO Development Studios. The LSU Tigers playing in the SEC tournament this week as the 11 seed, and let's just say they have flipped a switch from where they were in the regular season. At one point, it was unclear whether they would make the SEC tournament and that they were going to be out of the NCAA tournament. And that has changed 180. We'll dive into that. We'll also talk about the Louisiana Raging Cajuns and their short stint in Montgomery as they are out of the Sun Belt tournament, and they now await their fate in the NCAA tournament as well. But we'll start with LSU, who's the 11th seed in the SEC tournament. They opened their play on Tuesday morning, battling with Georgia, the 6th seed. Charlie Condon, the nation's home run leader, just an absolute freak of nature. Wes Johnson, former LSU pitching coach, the head coach at Georgia now. But look, LSU got off to a hot start, and they never really wavered in a 9-1 victory. Josh Pearson gets a 2-run single in the first, Pearson follows it up in the second with an RBI ground out to second base to quickly make it 3-0. Georgia answers in the bottom half with an RBI single. And then it stayed kind of 3-1 until the fifth when LSU got two more off an RBI single from Stephen Milam and an RBI single from Alex Milazzo. And then in the seventh, an RBI single from Michael Braswell, who's had a big week in Hoover, followed by a solo shot in the ninth from Stephen Milam, an RBI single from Milazzo yet again, and then a RBI single from Tommy White in the ninth to make it 9-1, and that would end up being your final score in that one. So then LSU moves on to the next morning to play Kentucky, who came into this SEC tournament as the 3 seed, and it was a picture-perfect baseball game. You started the tournament with Gage Jump going 7 innings against Georgia, playing really strong baseball. And then you come into this matchup with Kentucky, and you got to feel really confident after the way you played against Georgia. And then you add in the fact that you're pitching your ace, Luke Holman, who goes 6 hitless innings with 7 strikeouts. Just a really impressive performance by Holman as well in his first postseason start for the Tigers. Michael Braswell got it started in the top of the first with a solo shot before an RBI ground out from Braswell in the second made it 2-0. And that was the score until the 7th, when LSU erupted with a grand slam from Jared Jones, followed by a solo shot from Hayden Travinski. And then the 8th, LSU loaded the bases once again. Tommy White delivers with the second grand slam of the game, winning that one 11-0 in 8 innings. The no-hitter did not stay intact. Gavin Guidry closes that game out with 2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. He didn't give up a run, but he did allow 1 hit to blow the no-hitter. But then, so now you're LSU, you're in the driver's seat, 2-0. You head into the quarterfinal round against South Carolina last night. And let me tell you, this was a game for the ages for LSU in Hoover. Just a really gritty performance. South Carolina played a really strong brand of baseball, as you would expect from a South Carolina ball club. On the top of the second, Stephen Milam gets an RBI single to score Josh Pearson. In the bottom of the third, a RBI double from Petrie ties the game. And then South Carolina answers with a grand slam in the bottom of the third, a 5-run inning there to put themselves ahead 5-1. And then LSU answers quickly with 4 in the fourth to tie the game, and then gets 1 in the fifth and 1 in the sixth. But again, here comes South Carolina with 4 runs in the sixth to put themselves ahead as the score was 10-7 there. And then when it looked like time was running out for LSU, it did not. 2 runs in the 8th off of a Josh Pearson reaching on a fielder's error. Braswell comes in to score. Alex Milazzo with a fly out to left center in the 9th to score Paxton Kling, and then Michael Braswell with a single down the left field line to score Jake Brown, put the Tigers ahead 11-10, and that would end up being the final score. Vindiction for Michael Braswell III, the former South Carolina Gamecock, scoring the go-ahead and eventually the winning run against his former team. In that one, it was a bullpen night for the Tigers, and it was one that they really needed in order to rest their starters. Hurd goes 2 innings. Ackenhausen goes 2 innings. Christian Little goes 1 2/3, giving up 4 runs. And then Justin Lohr comes in for 1 2/3. And then Fidel Yola, 1.2 innings, only 1 hit, 2 strikeouts on the night. He gets the win. He's 2-1 on the year. And the Tigers get a much-needed day off on this Friday before they head into the semifinal round tomorrow, where they will face the winner of Kentucky and South Carolina. So if you're Jay Johnson and the Tigers, you got to feel pretty good about that, considering you've played both of these teams already. You've beaten both of these teams. South Carolina was a much more difficult game than the Kentucky one, but still, you've got to feel good knowing that, A, you're in complete control here. You can lose that first game to either Kentucky or South Carolina, and you're still in a really good scenario. But here's the other thing. Say LSU doesn't win another game in Hoover. They're set. I saw a projection this morning, had them at a 2 seed in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I mean, they're set. And look, this LSU baseball team, the way they're playing right now over this last week, really going back to the Ole Miss series in the regular season finale, they look like a team that is playing championship baseball. And they're playing championship baseball at the right time, which I think is critical as you head into the postseason, because the way LSU is swinging the bat right now, the way they're pitching the baseball outside of their bullpen, who struggled last night against South Carolina, this looks like a team that is capable of going back-to-back. And that is scary to think about, considering where they were just a couple weeks ago. So look for LSU to make a run in the SEC tournament and into the postseason. Meanwhile, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, top seed in the Sun Belt tournament, they go to Montgomery, get slapped in the face early by Old Dominion yesterday. Fall behind 7-1. They come back, play a really good James Madison team, and they jumped out to a big lead, 7-1 in the second inning, 8-4 going into the seventh, and then you give up 6 runs in the seventh, lose at 10-9, and now you're back home in Cajun country. And now you have to sit and wait through the weekend until Monday to find out your tournament fate. They're in. There's no denying that the Cajuns are in, but have they done themselves any favors by going 0-2 as the number 1 seed, first time in 7 years that has happened? No, they have not done themselves any favors. When you look at the way that this is going to play out for the Cajuns, they're probably going to be a 2 seed. They could end up getting shifted down to a 3 seed, but in the grand scheme, it doesn't matter because you're still going to be playing each other, right? Whether you're a 2 or a 3, it really doesn't make a huge difference. Now, where they end up playing could be interesting. I saw a projection this morning, had them as the 2 seed in Knoxville, Tennessee, with Tennessee, UCF, and Army. So that's an interesting regional. Tennessee's obviously not somebody to take lightly. They're the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament. UCF and Army, good teams, but they're beatable. So again, that could shape up nicely for the Cajuns to make a run on regional weekend. But again, you could have done yourself a favor by winning at least 1 game in Montgomery and making that resume just that much sweeter for the selection committee. Also, news in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints apparently late on their renovation payments. I don't know how much I buy into that. There's a whole lot of drama going on there. The Saints saying that they were awaiting documentation. The LSED saying that they provided that documentation but still haven't gotten any payment. So we'll see how that plays out over the coming months. But look, I heard a quote the other day from a commentator talking about issues within a sports organization, and that is a conversation for the men in suits. not the players on the field. So look, if you're the Saints, you're going to figure that out in time. It's going to work itself out when it's supposed to work itself out. A lot of it is speculation. A lot of it is probably drama. So we'll see how that plays out over the coming weeks as we head into the heart of OTAs and into training camp here in June and July. Make sure you subscribe to our social media channel at ESPN_SWLA. Follow us here on YouTube at ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notified when we post all kinds of great content, including the 4-tire change, cleats and sneaks, over par, and of course the Miguez mindset. Brought to you by Marucci Hitter's House in Lafayette. If you want to swing like the pros, head over to Marucci, get yourself some great apparel. They've got batting cages, membership options as well. Go see my guys Dylan and Logan over at Marucci Hitter's House in Lafayette, right next to Surge Entertainment. You have a happy Memorial Day weekend, and we'll talk to you next week right here on the Miguez Mindset on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.